Generation X. The generation that's sandwiched between two worlds, the pre-digital world and the post-digital world. The generation that was raised by the conformity of baby boomers and who in turn are raising the generation of fluidity. This is the generation who knows the absolute agony of dialing the last number wrong on a rotary phone, and yet the absolute elation of the sound of the internet connecting. This is the generation who embraced the melancholy of 90s grunge while still holding firmly to the optimism of 80s pop. And this is the generation that created social media and then shoved it in the face of the world. Social media was dreamed up and it was imagined to be this uniting thing. This thing that allowed us to have circles and to expand those circles, but to understand our circles. And instead, what it did was it divided us. And not just from one another, but from our own realities. I am of this generation. I am a Gen Xer. And I am as much to blame about where we are in society as I am a victim of where we are in society. I was there when the lamp was rubbed. And how in the world do we put the genie back in the bottle when the genies discovered the instant validation of selfies? So here's the thing about human nature. We like to show off. We like to categorize and compare. We like to feel better than others. And when you cannot manifest those truths into reality by achieving them, using old-fashioned stuff like ambition and hard work, we turn to another aspect of human nature. We lie. The internet is full of misperceptions, realities that are tweaked to serve the purpose of the individual rather than the whole. And it is these non-truths that isolate us from one another and from self. The power of this hard truth is becoming evident currently. During the recent coronavirus pandemic, the increase in physical self-isolation drew more people worldwide online than ever before. Data is coming in that shows the negative mental health effects that this mass migration made. Probing this interaction at the different levels of social media exposure indicated that depression was elevated on days when social media was viewed. Now, what does that mean? That means you go on social media, it bums you out. How to allow this self-expression while allowing for the ramifications is something still being debated. Scholars, policymakers, and the public continue to debate on the impact of social media, smartphones, and so-called screen time on psychosocial functioning. So why is this a complex problem? Well, what is a complex problem? It's something that's not simply answered, right? It has many layers. The internet is this magical and mystical road that defies all logic, as it can reach almost anywhere in the world, at any time, at any place. It's an avenue for dispersal of anything that can be dreamt up by the human mind. When I was a kid, I used to hang out with my grandmother at the beauty parlor, and a rumor could only spread as quickly as it took to get from that wall of the beauty parlor to that wall. And in that same time, in modern times, it can get from that keyboard over there to the other side of the world. This is a complex problem on so many levels because everyone is at risk of it. Everyone is affected by it. This is a worldwide thing. Everybody goes on the internet. It's where we all go. It's the road that we all use. But the thing is that when you're not able to trust what you see, when you're not able to understand what you're looking at, it affects you. It creates an imbalance. And we are fatigued as a species from being in a constant state of anxiety and depression born from the foundations of doubt. Who can we trust when it appears no one can be trusted? And what can we believe if everything feels unbelievable? When you go on that Instagram page and you see your friend and it looks like she's having the best vacation in the world, and that's all she shows, but you know she got food poisoning, she got bitten by a spider, but that's not what you see. That's not what the world sees. So what's true? You know, social media has caused this phenomenon of going from living a life to documenting the worth of a life. And this is a complex problem because when you're more concerned with gathering evidence of an experience, you can miss the soul of the experience itself, and more to the point, how that experience reshapes your soul. Social media doesn't turn us into individual documentarians, but rather free billboards. While we're bragging about that cool coffee shop we went to or how well we apply makeup, we're giving away ourselves while helping others get a profit. So what do we do and how do we fix it? Well, it is a complex problem and there's no simple answer. There's a bunch of complex answers. Youthful self-exploration coupled with short-sighted opinion are a developmental stage every child must go through on their journey to adulthood. Would being aware of the issue help us to fix it? Would more studies about the ramifications help us to fix it? Would knowing the self-inflicting trauma help us to fix it? Would knowing that since 2012, when most individuals possessed a smartphone and access to a social media outlet, and that time frame is exactly when the dramatic increase in depression and anxiety was observed in populations around the world. Would that help us fix it? Or could it be as simple as, and maybe there is a simple answer, we shut our mouths. We rest our fingers. We remember that boredom is beautiful. We remember that every thought pushed out into the ethos remains there, forever, suspended in time, unfettered by time, sharp as the moment forged, forever at the ready to take aim. We as a species remember our humanity and remember to lay down our arms.